Let's flip over and let's start. So first thing we're looking at is this EurJpy A1 idea. Now, I haven't seen an A entry in a long time, an A entry being a high probability trade. Most of the trades that I've taken recently are B setups or maybe close to an A, but not perfect. This setup is damn near perfect. I'm going to run you through why that is now. So first thing we'll look at is the TDI. That's always the most important thing when we're using the ASFX systems. And if you're new to trading with me or to the ASFX systems in general, I'm going to put a link in the chat so you can go check out the beginner course. That's where I teach the A1 strategy. That's where we go over the back testing. That's where we go over the rules that you have to follow when taking the entry. That's where I teach you the candle formations that you need to use, all of that stuff. I'm going to put that link right here in the chat for you. So today, this TDI tells us clearly, since it's above the 50 value all day from the start of the day, this clearly tells us to be long bias today. So when the guys woke up, they see it break the Asian range. Here's the Asia high. They break that Asian range at 3:45, 3:30 in the morning New York time, and that continues to feed that long bias. Now, when we zoom out a little bit, we look back at yesterday's high back here, we can see it as a potential resistance level. Doesn't mean it's going to stop there, but it's definitely something that we need to take note of because we want that level to be broken before we take the trade, right? So you can see this morning that level is tested at 3 o'clock. It kind of sits there for 45 minutes before pulling back to the 21 EMA. Notice the 8 and 21 EMA have been in an upshift since yesterday afternoon. They crossed here and the 8 held above the 21 all night. So that again feeds the long bias. So when we see it get to that level, we see it again here. This is not an entry formation. It's off the 8 EMA. So you're just watching here. But when it pulls to the 21, holds the 21, and then breaks not just for a new high of day, but past yesterday's high, which is this blue box, that's a really strong sign that that bullish movement should continue. What's even more of a strong sign for that is the next bar does the same thing. It continues in the direction that you're looking for the move to carry. That's the kind of momentum that you want to see after an A1 2 candle or 3 candle formation. Sometimes with A1 entries, if you trade a shift candle where that 8 and 21 cross, that might lead to a pullback. And we've seen that still pull back and still work for you. It won't hit your stop loss. It'll respect your levels and it'll continue in the direction that that shift carries it. But with trades like this, it's really important to remember that next candle really needs to carry in your direction. And I've talked about that on a bunch of my streams so far. If that next bar was to be bearish, that'd be a bad sign. That would be a sign that maybe it's coming back and maybe you can get better risk reward if you wait. So seeing the entry break out here, the next bar works for you, that's fantastic. The way that I would manage this trade is I would be taking profit around 1.5, around 2R, because it is an A setup. There's no bearish divergence on top, right? You can see the RSI is straight rising, price is straight rising. Someone said, would you call the second candle overextended? No, Luke, write this down, bro. Measure the body. The body here is about 10 pips. If you go like this, about 10.8 pips. If you measure this bar right here to start the week in the Asian session, that bar is 13 pips. So that bar back here is the overextended bar. This cannot be considered overextended because the definition of overextended to us in ASFX is if that bar is the biggest body of the day. This is not. That was my knock. That's what I thought was going to be something against this trade, but it's not technically overextended. Another thing that we need to discuss is the perfect EMAs, right? You have 800 EMA way down here, 200 EMA here, 50 EMA here. So your EMAs are in a full uptrend. Another thing that we need to discuss to feed the bullish idea is on the 1 minute. Here in the Asian range, you see how it's still in the Asian range? If I extend the Asia high here, look at how it uses the Asia high as a floor, right? It's resistance, then turns support. Love that. Here in the Asian range on the 1 minute, look at this divergence that forms. I'm going to sync up this white line. This is bullish divergence. As the RSI low is set, price action comes lower. See how that's coming right off the 50 here, holding that upshift. This is a really solid position to say, okay, if we have this D1 entry here, we could see this D1 carry and continue the move higher. The other thing that I want to discuss here is for the D1 entry, it breaks the 50 once, which is not where I would take entry. It pulls the liquid 50 on the 1 minute here into the buy zone, which is a great sign, but it doesn't really give a solid 50 EMA retest with that L50 in the buy zone until here at 2:56 in the morning. Now, if you were to look to go long here as it comes off the 50, maybe you get in somewhere here, your stop would probably have to go at this pin at best. I honestly wouldn't even necessarily want to put it there because it's just so close. So then you would say, well, should I put it at the bottom? And then I would say, well, 15 pips is kind of far because if you sync this up, a 15 pip stop, it's not necessarily going to read great for risk reward. So I didn't love this for D1 entries. But what I would do is not take the D1 here, in my opinion. I would not take the retest in here either, because at that point, the 1 minute liquid 50 is in the sell zone. So what I would do is use this bullish divergence to feed trading this A1 formation on the 15 minute. That's how I would do it. The D1 here, putting the L50 into the buy zone, it does pop down into the sell zone, but then look, right back into the buy zone. It's been holding the buy zone all morning since then. So this little pop into the sell zone, I wouldn't go long when the 1 minute liquid 50 is in the sell zone. I would wait. And then you get this A1 formation that closes right after that. Then you can take your entry. Just wait. Be sure. You see this vertical line? That's where the A1 formation closes. If I sync this up. So you're getting the D1 beforehand back here to feed that A1 bias, that long bias, and to feed the A1 entry. I hope that makes sense. If it does, please hit the thumbs up button. That way I know you guys are getting it because I can see the thumbs up on my little stream deck thing here. I want to make sure everybody's seeing this. It's a D1 in the Asian range, not a great retest, not a great risk reward setup, but that D1 feeds the A1, which can make you super confident to take the A1 trade. Since the A1 presented, it's only closed one bar underneath the 8 EMA. Every other bar has held the 8, so you should still be in this trade looking for it to come up towards 1.5R. Personally, I would still be full in the trade if I had been up to take it because it's an A setup. You can't really find any knocks with it. If you look at my risk management plan, this only moved 1.1R. So if it only moved 1.1R, with A setups, even B setups, I'm not closing any of it until we get to 1.52R. So here's the 2R level. I'm going to mark the 1.5R level with the vertical line here. Sorry, horizontal line. Horizontal, vertical, same thing. Go like this. Blow it up so you can see it, right? And then here's 2R. Right? And then if you go to 80R, you're looking at almost 3R. Now, I think it could still make the move to 80R, for sure. Just watch it hold the 8 EMA and watch this 1 minute liquid 50. As price is still making higher lows, watch this 1 minute liquid 50 to just hold the buy zone. Get in the buy zone and hold it. It's been kind of choppy here. It's just dropped into the sell zone. But I think if it can get up and hold again, this will continue higher. That's my anticipation here. Good morning, Lindsay. Luke, did I answer your question? Dennis said, graded, this is an A+ setup so we can share this at the Miami event. Yep, definitely, bro. Definitely. I'm excited. We have our Miami seminar less than a month away, June 11th. We're going to be turning up in Miami. I actually found a really cool bar for us to go to that night. Not that that has anything to do with trading, but we got to have some fun too. We've got 15, 16 guys and girls flying in from all over the place. So it's just going to be an awesome event. Check UCAD D1 forming with 1 minute into divergence and ADR. I'll get to UCAD, Nick, later. I'm not going to go over that right now. I want to touch on these other things first. UCAD is not a pair that's tested well for me. So I don't anticipate it to be something that I would ever jump into trading. I've actually been testing it more recently to see if it tests different, and it still tests really bad. Here's GJ. Perfect liquid 50 in the buy zone. Another JPY quote pair. So if EJ is long biased, you would feed that long bias and match it with the technicals here on GJ. The difference here on GJ is what? It's still in the Asian range. This could easily respect the Asia high and chop all day as this 1 minute liquid 50 falls down into reset. So for me, this is just something I'm waiting on. Let's break this horizontal level and maybe use it as support to trade off of, just like we're looking at here on EurJpy, how it's using that Asia high to come off of, okay? Euro USD and GBP USD. We talked about these on the stream yesterday, so we'll start with Euro USD because I liked this one better. First, I just want you to see the full move. It's unbelievable rip overnight. Through the Asian session, it didn't move much. Soon as London opened up, boom, it broke, and it's been outside the 8 EMA all morning, and it went to 65, 66 pips, maxing out that ADR. Where the entry idea here is yesterday afternoon at like 11:30 as a D1 entry. So what I'm looking at here, yesterday, price pulls back to the 50 EMA after making a move to the upside out of the London session. We do need to respect that bearish divergence on top. See the RSI falling. We do need to understand that it is a swapping liquid 50. You see how the L50 goes buy zone into sell zone into buy zone. However, the bias on the higher time frames was long, and so was GBP USD. So again, following that USD quote pair bias. Why I have the entry marked here at 11:30 goes to the 1 minute. So if we go to the 1 minute, you'll see I have a lot of notes here. So if you're paying attention and you're not in ASFX, you're going to get a lot of nuggets right now. And if that helps you, just make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and maybe share this with some of your trader friends. Get them on the stream with us. So you'll see the divergence first sets up the D1 idea. That sets the first low. Then we make a higher low here. Once that higher low is set in and we pull the 1 minute liquid 50 into the buy zone, that's where some people are going to look for longs in here. But I wrote in my notes, I would wait here. I would not get long here because on the 15 minute at that time, you're right in here. Let me draw a circle so you can see. You're right here. This is where I would not look to go long. And I'll sync this up. Right there on the 15 minute, the red 21 EMA is above the 8 yellow EMA. So you're still in a downshift. So I don't love buying it when I'm in a downshift. So just wait. Waiting on the 1 minute, if I erase that, waiting gives you multiple retests, 1, 2 retests of that higher low off the divergence low, which I wrote here in my notes, builds confidence that you can trust this for your stop. Where I marked the entry is once we're holding that 50, the blue 50 EMA, with the TDI in the buy zone. And then look at how the TDI holds the buy zone, right? So you're seeing the higher low set. You know this is where you can use your stop. The first 50 break after those retests says, okay, we might be ready to move. Now on that retest with the L50 in the proper zone, that's where I'm going to look to take the trade, because if the L50 holds the buy zone at that point, look where I have the entry, you're going to get an 8 and 21 cross up. You're going to get that shift up, and that's where you're going to see the move happen, because now you're going to hold the 8 EMA and continue. The reason I didn't take this trade is because it was late. It was 11:30. I was done trading for the day. I was on my way to boxing class. But I still marked it up. It moved a little bit yesterday, which is it's anticipated that it doesn't make a big move because it's the end of the New York session. Everything is slowing down. But like I said, overnight, if you held the trade, you were able to take advantage of that move. Look at the L50 here, clearly holding the buy zone. So it's telling you to stay in that trade. Michael said, nice analysis, very helpful. Good, I'm glad that's helpful. I marked up the idea this morning. So you share CHFJPY. Yep, we can go over that. I'll get to it. Yep. We'll get UCAD in. We'll get CHFJPY, no problem. Okay, so that's Euro USD. Now, you can see here that Friday's high is kind of being used as the level for this trade to come off of. And it's also coming off the 50 EMA. I liked this over GBP USD because if you look at GU, you were under Friday's high and you had today's high in your way. Now, it still makes a decent move yesterday before the end of the day. It still accelerates to the upside, breaks for new highs, and holds the 8. But the move really happens here overnight. Asia session into London session. It's well overbought. TDI continues to rise. It's 109 pips higher than the entry idea. The first thing that we should talk about for this is this was the original idea, this shift candle here. Now, there was an idea early in the morning here, this 3 candle formation. It's a swapping liquid 50, so we know not to take that. Too much resistance above. You haven't broken Friday's high. You've got divergence at today's high. It's just too many levels in your way where you can't even get good risk reward to that divergence level if you were to trade this formation. So you wait. You don't really get a D1 here. I know James and some of the guys had divergence marked up on the 1 minute here. To me, it was just too fast. So I was looking at this shift candle. I didn't jump in long on the shift candle because it's right at that Friday zone. And I know that this Friday high zone right here could easily just be coming, it could come down off it as it does and come lower, and it would just look like a lower high. So I didn't want to get long there. But as it developed, I did like this 3 candle formation off the 21, because now you're already in the upshift, right? Compared to if you were trying to buy it down here, you're in a downshift. 8 is under the 21. This upshift sets up the possibility for 2 candle, 3 candle formations. So here, this 2 candle formation to me is a better risk reward setup to the divergence, to the high a day. And it's an easier trade to take because you know if the next 30 minutes, if it doesn't move in your favor, it's done. So here, it's flat for 15 minutes, and then it breaks for a new high of day almost in the next 30, stays bullish, stays outside the 8, and then continues to carry. And you're able to see that move continue overnight. You could have locked your stop, and you could still be making money on this long. So I'm not in either of those trades. I didn't make any money on Euro USD or GBP USD. Both of them coming, this one was at 10:30 in the morning, so this is after my trading session. But I just wanted you guys to see. Lindsay said, I like this setup so much better too. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, you liked this 2 candle formation more than the shift candle? Is that what you mean, Lindsay? I still think Euro USD is a better setup just because we were using Friday's high as support rather than having to still trade through it here. Because if I throw this in replay mode, this easily could have rejected the zone and come down. Swapping liquid 50, divergent on top, a lot of resistance. Look at the pins. It's all falling. So this wasn't as clean to me as Euro USD. If I throw Euro USD in replay mode at the time of the entry, yeah, I know what you meant, Lindsay. Like that to me looks a lot better. You have risk reward to the divergence line right here. You're off the level, not beneath the level. This was the better setup in my opinion. But they both work. They both work. Okay. EurJpy, 8 seconds here on this